Recording. Okay, so recording tonight for all of those that cannot join. So building your authentic presence with leadership coach and comedian Jerry Beers. He is a leadership coach with over 20 years of executive corporate experience, managing analytics and strategy teams in the advertising industry. He is a Hudson certified executive coach focused on leadership development and career reinvention. Far from the typical number cruncher, Jerry also has extensive experience as a stand-up and improv comedian, experience that helps him to foster trust with clients by combining a unique blend of curiosity, empathy, and humor. He leverages his corporate and leadership experience to partner with clients, enabling them to become more self-aware and achieve personal and professional growth. From expanding scope and responsibility to finding deeper professional purpose and direction, Jerry helps executives to unblock their challenges and move their careers forward with intention and confidence. After beginning his career working down the hall from Alan Greenspan at the Federal Reserve Board in Washington, D.C., Jerry changed careers in search of something more creative. He spent the next 20 years at Saatchi and Saatchi LA as a key executive on the Toyota account and designing creative marketing strategies deeply rooted in numbers. In his time at Saatchi, Jerry helped Toyota weather 2 recessions, a significant product recall, and multiple natural disasters. He lives in San Diego, California, with his wife and his 2 children. He is the founder and CEO of the Olivine Project. Jerry, we are very excited to have you tonight. And so with that, I'm going to unshare my screen as we begin the process of building our authentic connection.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I see a few of you, and then I see we might be missing, looks like Randall and Tom. And I'm just hoping that you guys could get on camera if possible.
Yes, we need everybody to, this is supposed to be fun and interactive, and we do need everybody. Hi, Randall.
Hi, Randall. So I promise this is going to be fun. This is basically, I don't know if anybody has much experience seeing improv or doing improv. Has anybody seen Whose Line Is It Anyway on TV? Yeah, a couple people. All right. So a lot of what we're going to be doing is sort of like that. There's no script here. You guys there's no right or wrong answers. It's just for fun. And I think you're going to get a big kick out of it. So just to kind of echo what Jen said about me in the introduction, my name is Jerry Beers, and I worked for 20 years at an advertising agency, and I managed a group of numbers dorks. And basically, that makes me totally unqualified to be a stand-up comedian by all measures. But against all odds, I made it. And so how did that happen? When I was at the Federal Reserve Board, they taught me by watching a bunch of PhD economists give lectures about the economy that when you give presentations, you're supposed to stand up and tell people the right answers and try to make them not have any questions and bowl over any questions that come up. So basically, you have the mic and you just tell them the answers and sit down. And if no one has any questions, you win. And so when I got to a more creative atmosphere like Saatchi and Saatchi, I did the same thing. So I stood up when it was my turn to present, and I presented numbers to creative people, and they all had their heads spin, and I sat down and I thought, man, I'm really nailing this. You know, these guys have no idea anything about numbers. And every time I get up, I'm basically just teaching. And one day my boss came up to me. This is my boss and mentor for like 20 years. Early on, like in my second year there, he's like, we really need to send you on a presentation skills class. And I was like, yeah, okay. Why? I'm doing awesome. And he's like, no, you're not. You just sat in front of a board of, leadership members at Toyota and confused everyone. Everybody just froze on me. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
I can hear you great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you kind of froze.
I definitely froze. Hold on one sec. Okay, well, that was weird. I'm back.
We
Okay,
can
I'm
hear you
back.
good.
So anyway, I went on this presentation skills course, and I think has anybody ever done one of these presentation skills trainings? Nope. Okay. Some people have, some people haven't. Basically, they taught me how to use my hands and how to inflect my voice and sound like a news anchor. And it was completely unhelpful to me because that was not my problem. My problem was not communicating things. It was actually connecting with the audience. And so I took this presentation skills course and nothing happened for me. And then all of a sudden, um, worlds aligned. And in my personal life, I'd become really interested in stand-up comedy. And I was afraid to do stand-up comedy. And so what I do instead was improv comedy. And it was a great move professionally for me because improv comedy is all about connection. And what I learned was by dropping my kind of armor and being unafraid of questions and trying to connect with the audience rather than to kind of be right all the time and bowl them over, I became an invaluable employee there. So people wanted to know more about numbers. They weren't afraid of me. They wanted to engage with me on a deeper level. And so my boss, I had to clarify with him that the presentation skills class did not work, and instead it was improv. And so that got me thinking a lot. And so ever since that, it's been 20 years now that I've been teaching improv to businesses. And I've been thinking a lot about how improv exactly can help people in a business setting. And I think tonight we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff. I'm gonna ask you to do a lot of things that you have never done in your life before and you never do again. Um, but we're gonna talk afterwards about maybe how they could apply or what does it tell us a little bit about how we are as individuals and people at work.
Can I
Um,
interject, Jerry? So as we're going
yeah.
through this, also think about your teams at work. So we're kind of like guinea pigs because we've never done this before. Like, would something like this be valuable for your team at work? Would it help to enhance communication, self-awareness, understanding? Could you take this back? So is it valuable for you? Yes, no, hopefully yes, that's great. But what can you take back to your team? Keep that in mind.
Perfect. It's great. So a couple notes about tonight. I'm going to give you kind of two big things. I want you to have fun. I want you to connect. Okay. So having fun means don't try to be funny. That's the big thing. It's a big nuance there, right? So having fun is different than trying to be funny. If you're trying to be funny, it probably won't go well for you. If you're having fun, we're all going to laugh because what improv's all about is seeing how someone's brain works and and it shows that they're different than you and those differences kind of unite us. It's great. Um, and then connection is connecting with people in here. And as hard as it is to do over Zoom, I want you to really work on listening and making eye contact with the people that are speaking. So I'm going to have you guys in different configurations where you're working with different people. And what I want you to do as much as possible is to kind of look at their eyes on the screen and listen to what they're saying rather than trying to pre-plan what you're going to say. The last thing I'll say is just be open to kind of playing, right? So be open to kind of maybe looking silly at some points because that's where the gold is. If you can show us how you think and you say something that's silly, it's going to be funny. If you just let it go and have fun. Okay, so now one housekeeping item. I want to make sure that we're okay here. I'm glad you're all on camera, right? Is there anybody not on camera, Jen? I think everybody's there. 1, 2, 3.
I was on mute. Sammy was on, but he's having some technical difficulties.
Okay. Cool.
And the other profile in the room is just me, so that I
Okay,
can
cool.
text
All
in the
good.
chat. So we're all we're all on camera.
So, guys, what I want you to do is change your screen name to a number that I give you and then your first name. Okay. And how we do that is we go down to participants. I think if you click participants, there should be a panel on the right that comes up. And then you should be able to go to the more button and then rename. Yeah, rename yourself. I can't do it to you, but you can rename yourself. So I'm going to give, and forgive me if I get your name wrong, but Ganesh, I'm gonna give you number 1. So you just put a 1 and then Ganesh, okay? And then 2 is Tom. 3 is Jen. 4 is Milton. 5 is Randall. 6 is Andy. And then if Sammy comes on, we'll give them 7. Okay. And the point of this is that a lot of improv is about standing in a circle and doing improv in order, right? So I give you some things to do and we add to them and all that stuff. So this is kind of to simulate an order. And so don't worry, Ganesh, we're not going to always go start with 1, but it'll be basically 1 to 6, then back to 1. So it's like we're standing in a circle. And sometimes I'll be in the circle with you and I'll tell you that. And other times I'll just leave you on your own. So you guys are doing great with camera on. What I'd love for you to do, this is a little counter to most business meetings, is to keep your sound on, because you want to be able to quickly respond to things. And also, I want to hear laughing. And that's the other part about this, is just be generous with laughter. People up here have never done this, and they're trying their hardest and they're having fun. So if we can just encourage each other by laughing, that would be awesome. Any questions before we get started? Great. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to throw a knife at each other. Okay. So I am going to start by throwing the knife, but I want you to call someone's name out and throw the knife at them. And what's good about this is to remember how the knife gets thrown is very important. So if I'm throwing it to Jen and I throw it like that, she's probably going to catch it like this. It would be weird to us as the viewers if she caught it like sideways over here, right? Because I aimed it right at her. You can kind of see that, right? So that's what we want to work on, just how you throw it and then how you catch it, okay? Does that make sense? There's no wrong answer. So I'm going to throw...
Hold on, wait, I have a question. Do we have to say who we're throwing it to?
You're throwing it to, yeah, you say who you're going to throw it to, and then you throw it at them however you want to. And then that person catches it to reflect how it was thrown at them, okay? Right? Okay, ready? I'm going to throw it to start. So Randall.
Ganesh.
Oh, nice.
So I had to pick a name?
You just pick anybody, say their name, and throw it out.
Okay, Jen.
Nice.
Milton.
Andy.
Oh.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Are you okay?
Tom.
Nice. There you go.
Back to you, Jerry.
All right, cool. All right. So how was that?
Good.
What
Painful.
What do we remember from that? What did we laugh at?
It's fun.
Andy's
It's
head.
fun and everybody was involved, right?
Reactions.
Yeah.
So I noticed that everybody laughed when Andy did something.
Yeah.
Happened?
Yeah.
Why did you laugh at that?
Yeah. I was first worried. Is he okay with the knife coming at him?
Yeah.
Because we're all a bunch of sociopaths and we
Yeah,
wanted to
because
see
we're
the
all,
guy.
exactly. We're all crazy.
Yeah.
But I would argue that it was the way that the knife was thrown, it looked like it was coming right at him. And he caught it the way it was thrown at him, and he decided to do a little spin on it and catch it in his head. So he kind of like yes anded the whole thing. He one-upped everything. So it was really funny, creative way to kind of see how his brain works on the fly. So it was really cool. But really, what this is for is just showing like how information is given and how you're listening and reflecting that. And so it's rewarding to us as listeners when we see that synergy, but it's super weird if it doesn't, get reflected. The next thing we're going to do is a little variation on this. It's called the ball throw, but it's not really a ball. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a little ball of like matter, and we're going to stretch it into something different than just a little ball of matter. And it can take on any form that you want it to. And I want you to convey kind of like what it is the best you can in this little box we're given on Zoom. So if I'm stretching it like this, and then I go, Tom. So I was throwing maybe what?
Spear.
Giant piece of spaghetti.
Spear, yeah, a hard piece of spaghetti. So there are things that you can convey. You can convey the weight and the shape, okay?
Right.
And so what I want you to do then, Tom, is take it and make it whatever thing you want it to be, and then convey the action and say that to someone.
Milton.
Now I'm gonna.
No, you're gonna do you. I like you drank his too. That's good.
This is a ball, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ganesh.
Is it a plate? Plate?
We didn't see a lot of that.
Okay,
we
I
didn't see-
apologize.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
get my hands
okay.
up higher.
Yep.
Okay.
It's okay.
Ganesh.
Is it about frisbee?
There you go, frisbee. Bingo.
Oh,
Randall.
The ball?
Yeah, football.
Football, okay.
Stretched
Okay.
it.
10.
oh my God. Oh no. Okay, do it one more time.
Go yippee-yi-yay.
Okay, so either that's fishing or you're on a horse
A lasso.
and you are, yeah.
That's
Are you on a
Lasso.
horse? Are you
I-
grabbing something with
I think
that?
we
Is
got
that a
it.
rope?
I threw it
lasso.
at you, but lasso, yeah.
Lasso, right?
Lasso,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna give it away verbally. Okay, I'm not gonna give it away verbally.
Okay.
Oh, I have
Oh, you
to
gotta
say,
say the
You
name.
have to throw it to somebody.
Yeah, you just drank your own cocktail.
Tom,
Thanks.
what was that? What was it?
To me? Oh, seems like a margarita to go with my beer, but
Yeah, I was shaking something
Jerry
that
Beers.
I'm having at night. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Great job, guys. All right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Nice work. So, how was that?
Good.
Silly, right? You haven't done that probably in a while. I've
Yeah.
never seen someone open with a beverage. I've never even seen a beverage in this game. That was really good. It was awesome. But so what did we think about that one? What was funny and what stood out to you?
I think what stood out to me, I was confused, I guess, because I thought you were talking about a ball, as in like a bouncing ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was the initial thing, and then suddenly it became a beverage, and then everyone sort of went with beverages, and then Randall switched it back to a lasso, and then went back to beverages.
No, thanks for telling us that, because I think the initial thing is that it's a ball that we stretch into something different. And so you have to convey the weight and height and, all the physical qualities of that thing by what you do and how you throw it to the next person. So yeah, that would be super confusing. It was like, why is he swinging a ball around?
What I think is interesting about some of this so far, when I think about myself, like so much of my conversation, my interactions with people, the decisions I make, so much of that is based on, data, facts, having information up front versus, I don't know, this experience where observation and instinct are dictating how I'm responding or what I'm doing or what I'm saying or what I'm thinking. And that's not typically how I behave in my day-to-day role.
Man, that's
not
right
what I
on.
use,
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about that observation piece and kind of what it's been like so far to use that.
Yeah, it requires like a level of presence that I just typically, like, sometimes I may have or I might not. Like, if I do enough pre-work, homework, pre-reading, whatever in advance of meetings or in advance of interactions, I'm not saying I can be more or less asleep during the actual meeting itself, but it does sometimes it creates a little bit of a laziness as it relates to active presence. Whereas in this situation, you have to be paying attention.
Yeah.
And you can't plan what you're going to say or what you're going to do. There's no homework. There's nothing that you can prep. There's prep. And I feel very comfortable personally with prep.
Yeah.
Um,
But when you don't have prep, what do you feel?
Yeah, it's weird.
What do you mean by weird? Tell me more about that.
Um,
We all know it. That's how we all feel. Nobody wants to go to a meeting.
it's the anxiety, it's the unknown, it's the yeah.
What's underneath all that? What's the worst thing that can happen? What do you think?
Mm.
Like, what's that anxiety? What's under that anxiety?
That I'm exposed in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be exposed, and even deeper, is I am going to be exposed as less than, or as bad or dumb or not qualified. Somehow they're going to find me out. So I need to over prepare to be there. And so what I love about what you just said is we're going to get into a lot of this stuff, and you're not going to have time to prepare, but your brain is going to want to prepare. So it's natural, and this is kind of what improv is for. But our brains have the capacity to show up really skillfully in the moment. We can respond to something, but in office kind of environments, we don't allow ourselves to do that, right? Because we want to make sure we have the right answer. So it's great. It's a great kind of like tip off to the rest of this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to do, let's do that. We're going to do a name game just to get familiar. I know your names are on the screen, but I want to just make sure that we feel comfortable. So the first thing we're going to do is you just pick out something like an occupation or descriptor, adjective, an animal, something that you can sort of act out that starts with the same or the same letter as your first name. So my first name is Jerry with a J, right? And so I would be picking out something with a J to act out. So I could be like janitor Jerry, and I could be mopping something up. I could take it blue and go jerky Jerry and flip you off. I could do it a bunch of different ways, right? So I won't take up all the J. Well, there is a J in here. So I won't take up all the J's because they're hard. But does that make sense for everybody? So what I want you to do is just say the word and then act it out as you're saying it and say your name. So like janitor Jerry, okay? So Ganesh, I'll have you start and we'll just go around.
Okay, yeah. My name is it's an Indian name. So you want to just starting letter G and with
No, I want something that you can act out that starts with G.
That's good. So I have to think.
No, I know.
With the G, I can say as a gentleman.
Gentleman Ganesh. So how will you act that out for us?
I'll say like basically helping people, like
Yeah.
be kind.
Yep. I'll give you maybe like this, just say like gentleman Ganesh. Just like that. Gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay. Try it. Just say that for me and just put your hands like
Be gentleman.
yes, gentleman Ganesh. Okay. All right, Tom, it's your turn.
All right, as my mother used to call me when I was younger, Tornado Tom.
There you go.
That's good.
All right, Jen.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember this stuff because I know that's where we're going with recall. Oh gosh. I love the beach and I love jellyfish. I love them. Like, I mean, I've been stung by a million of them, but like I
Get
just
the
like the
backstory.
fact that
Yeah.
they're clear and they're like, blubbery and flubbery. Like,
Okay.
okay, so jellyfish Jen.
Nice. There you go. Perfect. All right, Milton.
Manic Milton.
Nice. I love it. Great.
I don't remember Ganesh.
Gentleman Ganesh.
Don't worry. Gentleman Ganesh. Yeah.
Well, I guess as a musician in my spare time, although on the classical side, I'm gonna go with Rockin' Randall.
Nice.
Rockin'
Yeah.
Randall. I'm gonna go with Assassin Andy.
Assassin Andy.
That's
Nice.
an Andy.
Nice.
Here you go,
I'll go
Jen.
with Jam and Jerry.
You can't. There's a jellyfish for you, Jen.
Oh, nice. There you go. All right, let's do them one more time really fast. Okay, so everybody do the same one you just did and just do it fast. So Ganesh, you're up first.
Yeah, gentleman.
Gentleman Ganesh, right?
Poor Tom.
Tornado
was like,
Tom.
"Oh, no."
There you go.
Tom, what were you?
Tornado.
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 Jen's really got her anxiety coming through on this one.
I was
Really
so
big
stressed
time.
out.
Big
Sugar
time.
up.
Oh, Jellyfish Jen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Manic Milton.
Manic Milton.
Rockin' Randall.
Assassin Andy.
Jam and Jerry. All right. Who wants to do them all?
Did you just
Jen-
change your one, Jerry?
What's that?
What was your one again?
Jam and Jerry. I got like
Jam
a,
and Jerry
oh.
changed it.
What did I say before?
Janitor.
Oh, that was the one I gave you an example. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I can do it.
I know you can do it. You've been stressing.
I'm stressing. I know. So I have to go first. So Jammin',
Jam and Jerry.
Jam
You got
and
to
Jerry,
act it out.
gentle.
It'll help you to act it out. Yeah.
Jammin'. Okay, gentle.
Gentleman.
Ganesh. Rockin'. Oh, Rockin' Randall. Manic. Milton. Tornado. Tom. Assassin. Andy.
Good job. Nice job. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing about improv is that part of it is just about kind of being present and being silly. And so what I find when I do this exercise with people is that when you do this with teams, sometimes they will literally keep these names going for years and they'll be like, oh, Manic Milton, what's up? You know, and they'll just have that inside joke in the hallways. It's kind of fun.
I have that actually from my university cohort.
Oh, yeah?
So it was like 2007.
Oh, yeah.
And my one was Action Andy.
Oh, there you go.
My cohort,
Remember
they
it.
still call me Action. I've got
Nice.
Mags, Crazy Cat.
Yep.
And
Pretty
yeah,
funny.
we still all call ourselves the same names. And we're called the Posse.
I love it. That's so funny, but it just helps create that universe, right? Okay. And now we're going to do a game called ABC Circle. And this one's really simple. Does everybody know the alphabet? Yes. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is pass the alphabet around.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're like pretty good on it. We'll see. We'll see. So the deal is we're just going to pass the alphabet around the room. So Ganesh, I want you to, you'll start and you'll say A, and then Tom, you'll say B, Jen, you'll say C, and we'll go all the way around to Andy and we'll come back to Ganesh and we'll go till we go to Z. Okay.
Okay. Start.
Go for it.
A.
B.
C.
D.
E.
F.
G.
H.
I.
J.
K.
L.
So it's me. So you're not participating, Jerry?
I'm not. Nope.
No. M.
N.
O.
P.
Q.
R.
No. Well, whose turn?
Your turn.
So what was the last letter?
R.
R.
Ah.
Ah.
So B.
No, we said that already. Didn't we?
We did R.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did say R.
R. S.
T.
U.
V.
W.
X.
Yeah. Y.
Z.
All right. Yay. How was that for you guys?
It's okay.
Awkward.
Yeah, for Andy, it's Z. Just want to spell that out.
Nice.
Feel like even
Look
on
at the
something
backdrop. Look at the backdrop.
Yeah.
I feel like as even on something as simple as that, I felt like I was thinking, what's my letter? What's my
Yeah.
letter? What's my letter? Like, what's
Is
my letter?
anybody else thinking that?
Like, huh?
Is anybody else thinking that? What's my letter? Anybody count ahead?
I was
I
just
didn't.
trying to remember who I went after.
I think I mean, we have a little bit of a small group, but I think it's pretty typical in groups when you have, like, if we had like 10 to 12 people, when you have a little more time, you probably count ahead. We get at least 4 or 5 people each time saying that they do that. And so I want to highlight for Jen, that is a very common reaction. And in fact, that's my favorite reaction to talk about here. Because even when Ganesh was lost on it, that it was his turn after Andy and he was going to say S, what happened, right? He was like, what letter just got said? And it was like R, and he figured it out.
Yeah.
Took him just all it took was for him to realize it was his turn. But I think, what does that tell us about, what if we're sitting in meetings, or I mean, if we're sitting in this meeting and we can't even pass the alphabet around the room without counting ahead, what does it tell you about what everyone's mental state is when we're in a meeting?
It means really we're not fully engaged.
Yeah.
Because if we're already thinking about what's going to be said, what am I going to be saying?
Yeah.
How am I going to be presenting my part of the presentation?
Yeah.
I'm not engaged and actively listening and participating in what the rest of the meeting is going on.
Because
Couldn't have said it better.
right.
Yeah.
Because our own level of preparedness or our own preparation is more important than anything that is being said.
Yeah. Right. Because why?
Because we're all selfish.
Yeah. Because we don't want to look stupid, right?
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of that selfishness. It's a fear. It's a fear, right? And so what I found in business is the opposite of fear is connection. Especially when we're in a meeting and we have to speak. If you feel the heat come up your neck a little bit and you're like, oh man, I should say something. I should say something. I should say this. I should say this. I should say something. Yeah, I should say it. And then someone else says it and you're like, damn it, I should have said that. We spend so much time waiting and thinking about it. We're not connected with the group at all. And so even in that time, we're sitting there thinking about what we should say. We've wasted a good 30 seconds or planning out the perfect way to say it or something like that. And so for people who get nervous when they speak in front of groups, or for people who feel a little anxiety when they know they're going to speak in a meeting, that's one key is to think about how you can connect with that group. And so we're going to go through some stuff here where we get a little bit deeper into that and we'll find out how it goes. So now I'm going to have you guys pass around something different. So we're going to generate words, and how we're going to do it is the person before you is going to give you a word, and you're going to start your word with the last letter of the word that was given to you. So if Ganesh says tarantula, then Tom has to start his word with an A, right? And if he says art, then Jen has to start her word with a
E.
T, right? Oh yeah, you thought I said arc? Yeah, with a T. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try and really enunciate to an American audience.
Yes. Good. Does that make sense, guys? So it's just kind of thinking on your feet. All right, so let's have Milton start. You can choose any word you want, and then we'll go Randall, Andy, and back up to Ganesh.
Any word?
Yep, any word.
I apologize to whoever's going to follow me up because I'm a smart ass.
Here it comes.
Yep. Astropithecus.
Astropithecus. Okay. Snail.
Liberty.
Yak.
Kite.
Effervescent.
Ooh.
Trauma.
Apple.
Sorry, what was that one?
Apple.
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 I'm not quite sure on how this one starts, but What about expialidocious?
Yep.
Okay. Is for spring.
G for gift.
What was that?
Yeah.
Gift. I'm giving you a gift.
Um, Terrific.
Carnivore.
Was that carnivore?
Carnivore, yes.
All right. Perfect. Yay. Good work, guys. Good work. I think we've done it a few times now. How was that one for you guys?
Good.
Good.
Yep.
But even so, I was thinking about
Yeah. I know how anxiety shows up in this one.
what
So
is the most, like what is the most basic versus like what is the most like interesting, like intellectual, like like word,
Yep.
like what is the most like stimulating word I can come up with versus just like what is a word that meets the requirement?
So let me ask you, did that?
And but then you also get to the point where you're like, you think, oh crap, I can't think of anything smart. I'll think of something small because that I can do.
That's what happened on my last word. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of mental gymnastics happening, right? And, who did not have a hard time with this game? Okay, Milton, tell me your mental process.
My mental process is I always try very hard to be in the moment. So I don't have any preconceived notions of what's coming.
That's a
So
great place to be. Yeah.
so whatever it is what it is. And I just feed off of that.
So what did you focus on when Jen said something? What were you thinking about?
Actually, the only thing I was thinking about was the enunciation of the word so I could identify the last letter. That was it. And then once I identified the last, yeah, for me, that was it.
The rest of you feel, Andy's laughing. What do you got?
No, I completely agree because it's like the subtlety in enunciation and differences between all of us on this call because we're all from either different countries or different parts of the States. So I'm like, when Randall said apple, I'm like, what's that word?
Yeah.
I'm like, ah!
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I will give you, there's a couple hints that I can tell by watching people when they're trying to do too much or they're feeling pressure, right? And usually they look up like this and they go, oh, exhale, right? And I know they're in it then, right? As the audience in improv, what the funny part about this is that all of us are expecting, oh man, this is going to be good. But there is no good when we're coming up with this game. There's no funny. There's like, you can come up with funny words and stuff, but there's really no way to game this one. Like you just kind of have to get through it and be present, right? And so what I find is people are putting either pressure like Jen on themselves to say, I want to come up with, like I could say apple, but I want to come up with like something really good. And then they're like off on their own. We don't know the journey they're going through. And then like Andy said, they usually come back around and say like, ant or something, or like whatever. But the piece of it really is just how can you be present enough to take what's given to you and then give it back, right? So what I want to do here is I'm going to add emotion to this. And so now what I want to get from you guys is an emotion that we can act out. Any emotion that comes to mind.
Happy.
Happy. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do here is we are going to actually one more let's see. One more thing I want to ask you guys. What was harder, the ABC or the word?
Word.
I think
The
it was
word.
the word.
The word. Okay. Why?
I had to think more.
I had to think more. Yep. You had to be plugged in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's about like the content you had to come up with, right? So you weren't just on autopilot, right? Okay. So now we're gonna do we're gonna mix this emotion in, and we're gonna do the alphabet again, and we're gonna be the happiest possibly be. Okay, we're gonna say the happiest alphabet known to man. Okay, so I want it to be a 10, whatever a 10 is for you in terms of happiness, like, hey, okay. Or if you're, extremely introverted, it might just be a small smile and a hey. But
Were
do the
you
best
Canadian,
you can.
Jerry?
Bring it to a 10. What'd you say?
Were you Canadian?
I am not Canadian, no.
I am. For the
Okay.
record.
Oh, hey.
All right.
Let's get Tom to do it.
So we're gonna have, hey. So we're gonna have Andy start us off, and we're gonna do this happiness at a 10. Same thing. We're gonna pass it around the circle. Okay. So it's gonna go Andy and then Ganesh.
Oh, sorry, that was my turn.
You might as well just said the letter. You're already happy enough.
Oh no, it's okay. You said B, Jen? Nice.
Oh, okay, B.
Oh no. Okay, go for it. Milton, you go C.
T.
D.
F, D, E, F.
Andy's
Right?
gonna
Yeah.
be E, and then we're just gonna go back up to Ganesh.
Okay. F.
G.
Is that my cue?
Yeah.
H.
I.
Oh, nice song.
J.
Hey.
L. M.
M.
O.
Q.
Maybe we skipped a letter,
I
but
think we
okay.
missed P.
All right. Yay, we did it. We did it. How was that?
It was fun.
It was fun? All right, good. What were you thinking?
That I don't care.
You don't care. Okay, good.
I was thinking that if this was a drunk test, we'd all be going to jail because we missed a couple letters.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well,
And
when
I
you're,
think
when you're
Milton's
running
got
on
a
4
singing voice in there as well.
I know, Milton. That was pretty good.
No,
Yeah.
that was really impressive.
Yeah, that's but I'm like one note. That's it. That's all I got.
it's easy to miss a letter when you're running on 4 hours of sleep. That's all I can say.
Yeah. We were no, that's true. We seemed to get off base when it came to the alphabet. But what were you guys thinking about when you didn't have the mic? Well,
I was enjoying more what everyone else was doing.
Okay.
Whereas previously I was like waiting for what's coming, trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yep.
I was just enjoying the moment much more.
Yep. Jen, what was going through your head?
I
got it.
completely agree with Andy. For some,
Nice.
I was less concerned.
Who was thinking about how they were going to be happy?
I wasn't thinking how I was going to be happy. I was actually because I'm like a hyper competitive guy, so I was trying to figure out how I could outdo whoever was right before me. That's
Okay.
always that's always my game.
Yeah, that's good. You can outdo
Right, so-
them. Yep.
Yes, I'm going to outdo you. So.
Good. That's good. Well, so what I noticed with this game is a lot of times we do screw up the letter. We do kind of let the content go because we're thinking more about how we should show up. And the key to this is nobody gives a crap if you get the alphabet right or not. It's really about how you're showing up. And I noticed that there are a few of you that made me laugh almost every single time you did it. And you were very present. You were taking it like a funny, different way. You seem to be enjoying it. And I think a lot of times we get a group full of people, and this is back to what Jen said earlier about the pre-planning. We get a lot of people who are thinking about how they will show up. So they're like worried about, oh my gosh, how am I gonna hit my happy note here, right? And then, oh, I got to do it different next time. So how am I going to do it different next time? And what's interesting about this is that it kind of shows me that you can mostly get the content right, but you're worrying about how you're showing up. And I think that's really important in business because, when we show up in presentations and in meetings, all we have to do is show up as our authentic self. And I think what happens a lot of times is that we let fear take over, and whoever our self is that plans stuff, that is anxious, that is stressful, that's what's coming across to everyone in the meeting, right? So if all I told you was I don't even want you to prep for this next meeting. I just want you to go in and be yourself. I think you'd be surprised at how much more engaged and engaging you were with people and how much more progress you made. So just a thought about that. I always get struck by that game about how funny that is. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many meetings that I go into, and like I have literally pre-prepared. I've prepared word choices.
Mhm.
I mean, it's certain meetings I go into, I've memorized half of I've memorized half of what I'm going to say.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like a script in many meetings. So the spontaneity, the letting my personality shine through, or just letting things be more organic. I mean, sometimes, but many times, no, you know.
Mhm.
I
Well,
want
yeah,
to
it
get
depends
that
on the
coming
setting.
across, you know.
It depends on the setting. If you're giving like a, State of the Union to Congress, you probably don't want to fly off the seat of your pants. But if it's like a normal status meeting, or if it's like, a meeting, you'd be surprised at how many times it behooves you to be present and be yourself and
Right, like
embrace.
how many times do we really, how often do we really not need to do that? Because
Yeah,
we know our stuff, and if we just trust that we'll know
that's it.
what to say in the moment, like,
That's it. Right. So if
you
Mm,
I think that's the thing, is like you can embody that a lot better as yourself, as
yeah.
Ganesh. What do you
No, and I need to drop off for another call.
Okay.
But it was really fun, with all the games we did, all
Cool.
impromptu. I
Yeah, thanks
also want to give kudos to Jen. She has been nominated as part of Forbes Business Council, which is a select invite only. So we want to congratulate Jen.
Congratulations.
thank
Awesome.
you.
Way to
Good
go.
stuff.
Congrats.
Thank you,
That's really
Ganesh.
great.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you later,
Take
Ganesh.
care.
Hey, Ganesh.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we lost our number one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
But
All right, that guy. No, it kills us.
I do have a question, because it's what, when doing presentations, it's like I might know my stuff. As a person, if I think about flying back, and Jen will know this one about Myers-Briggs, I'm
Mhm.
like an ESFP, so I'm very feeling and perceptive. So I'm always, I'm always looking at how are people reacting.
Yeah.
And if I'm like seeing sort of
Yep.
dead faces, I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
Then I start panicking inside, and it's like,
Ah,
how do you sort of ignore basically that and re-engage yourself, and then re-engage the room?
yeah, that's a great question. That's a
Mm.
great question. So what I do is change something. Whatever I'm doing, I change. And so that's either, if I'm sitting, I'll stand up. If I'm standing up and everybody's sitting, then I might try to sit. I'll walk around the room a little bit. I'll ask a question, ask for a volunteer. I'll write on the whiteboard. I'll interject with the story. In some circumstances, how bad would it be for you to be like, man, you guys look bored, and just kind of call it out? Because how many times have we been in that audience and we're like, oh, and if the guy said you look bored, you're like, I am bored. Oh, this guy can see in my soul.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm an ENFP. So Andy, I get it. We have one dimension. We're one dimension off. You're an S and I'm an N. I'm an intuitive and you're a sensor. Um, and oftentimes, when I get those blank stares, like I'll start to pick on people in the audience, like, hey, like, how is what I'm saying, is what I'm saying resonating with you? Like, tell me what you're thinking. Just to try to get some feedback, to know how to shift, how to flex, how to move, how to change, how to reposition what I'm saying.
Mm. Yeah, those are all really good things. I think, Jared, one of the things that you said a while back at the beginning as part of the conversation that really resonated with me is the whole idea of connection, right, to the audience. I think for me, whenever I'm in front of a group of people, whenever I'm speaking to them, whether it be just like this group here, or whether it's an auditorium full of people, or whatever, the first thing I try to do is like find a way to connect to their humanity, right? Because
Awesome.
at the end of the day, human beings are feeling beings that think. We're not thinking beings that feel. And if I can connect to you there, right? If we can connect, it changes the way you're going to perceive everything that comes out of my mouth. Right. So I want to really get you to, once we're here, then it's a hell of a lot easier. And I always try to start off by making a connection with the people who I'm talking to. If it's making them laugh, making them go, asking them a question, or even, or even just leaning into my own, humanity. Because are there times when I'm in front of an audience and I'm nervous? Yeah, absolutely. But I own that, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say something to them like, hey, you guys can help me out here. Don't make me feel, and oftentimes you get some empathy back, and boom, and now now we've reset things, and then we can move forward.
That's a really good point. Like, we have to be able to react to the energy or the lack of energy that we're getting back. Like, if we're so pre-planned, pre-scripted, prepared into what we're going to say, regardless of what the interaction is, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss a lot. You know what I mean? We have to be able to pivot and shift what it is we're going to say based on what we're getting. You know what I mean? If we're that inflexible, if we're that static, that's a static. If we're that static, we're going to miss it.
So I love what you guys both said. And as a comedian, I feel that if you're looking at the audience and they are giving you shark eyes, well, if I think about process and content, there's like how I'm saying what I'm saying, and then there's what I'm saying. And what I'm hearing, and I totally agree with, is when people are bored, it's not a problem with the content. It's a problem with the process, right? So it's how you are connecting with them. Milton said it perfectly. And Jen echoed it. Like, you kind of need to reconnect with them is really the thing. And so you can do that by changing all this stuff, but you can also just focus on connecting with them however you can, and just kind of dropping everything, dropping the slides, and marching through the presentation. Just, it could be momentarily and then come back to it if you need to. But I really love how you guys got to that. It's perfect. It's exactly what I would say.
I mean, having said that, I remember a meeting I had back in London when I used to work for an investment bank, and the whole HR department was there. So there's like 100 of us, and I was talking about some charity work that we were doing, and no one was really getting excited about it. So what I actually did, I sort of said, hang on, and I just then stood up on a chair and started doing the same presentation, and then everyone was like, oh, what the heck's going on?
Yeah, totally.
And it's like you were saying, it's something helped me think. It's like changing your posture, doing something. And that was the same if I think back to the very first game we had about catching the knife and throwing the knife. It was like, what was different, most people were catching. When I did it, it's like it hit me in the head. So it was different to what everyone else was doing. So it's bringing out authenticity, but bringing that sort of like the secret sauce, There's something special about each one of us, and we just need to bring that to our meetings.
Yeah. And it can be really hard when you're faced with those shark eyes, because it takes some bravery to kind of like go away from your content and go towards your personality and your authenticity. Because you're feeling sort of rejected at the moment, but it works.
Yeah, and sort of, sorry, I was just hopping on a bit, but like some of the meetings I had in my last company, some of the last meetings I had were reduction in force meetings. And it's like in those kind of meetings, you can't, you have to flip it around from personality. I'm a much more outgoing, fun kind of character. And if I'm talking to 100 people saying you just lost your job, I can't bring that same personality to that meeting, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But you can bring your authenticity. And I've had people in tears. This is a wild one. We were able to do something and say, you know, we're as a company, we're doing something to help them to sort of get established and make it less painful for them.
Mhm.
We had people suddenly breaking out in song during a meeting, singing a Christian worship song, and they just all started because they were just like, this is like the best news. This is crap situation, but you're doing something which we didn't expect. And so it's, yeah, I had sort of people say, if I'm going to get fired, I want you to do it.
Yeah, I remember I was supporting a really big merger for an online retailer maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And
Mhm.
I came into it in the ninth hour. I didn't know all the details, you know, who was going where, when severances were going to hit people's paychecks. Like I didn't like there was tons of information I was supposed to have and I didn't have, but yet I was in front of a whole group of people that were being laid off and I had to communicate the message without the information. But yet the feedback that I got was that how I made them feel, right? Like even though I didn't
Mhm.
have all the information, they felt really comforted and almost excited, not excited, but hopeful about what
Mhm.
the future was going to hold because of how I made them feel. It had nothing to do with the information I had or didn't have. I was missing tons of pieces, but how I made them feel was what mattered.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100%. When as you were speaking, it made me think of the old the Maya Angelou quote: "People will forget
Yeah,
what you say, people will forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you make them feel."
I just put
And
it
I
in the
think,
chat.
Yeah.
yep, perfect, exactly. And it's so true, right? That if you can connect with them there, like if you could, even in those laying people off or telling people they don't have a job anymore sucks. There's
Mhm.
no other way around it. It
Mhm.
sucks. And it sucks for them the worst because there's the unknown, right? But if you can connect with them, it sounds like Jim was able to do that. Andy sounds like you were able to do it as well. Is if you can connect with their humanity, like they understand that it's not you. Andy was saying, you're gone, or you, Jen, is saying you're gone. These are the circumstances, and we care about you. And here's kind of the process. It still sucks, but you can get through it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes. People forget what you said, they'll forget what you've done, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. I
Yeah.
think that's vitally important.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's a really wonderful quote to kind of wrap up what we just uncovered together. I think that really makes sense.
Mhm.
Which is so interesting because as leaders, we think we have to be the knowledge repository like
Mm-hmm.
at all times, but and we don't realize how much power lies in charisma
Mm-hmm.
and presence and some
Mhm.
of those other things. We don't necessarily always have to be the most knowledgeable person in the room to gain the buy-in, not always,
Mhm.
which is interesting.
Yeah. No, listen, I couldn't agree with you more. It's you know, another one of my favorite sayings is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You know, you know, I need to get the heck out of there. I never want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
What I do want to be able to do as a leader is to create shared vision, to create, and to create that energy that's going to attract people to the idea who can help us accomplish that thing. It's not about me being able to do it all. And after this, I'm going to shut up. It goes back to like another one of my favorites is Martin Luther King, "I Have a Dream" speech. And you think about what just the way that speech made people feel, right? It wasn't it wasn't an instruction manual about how to get there. It was, here's the dream. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of the American dream, and I have a hope that my kids will have a. Who can't get behind that? And then
Mm.
we can all get behind that and say, okay, here's how I can help actualize that. Here's how I can help actualize that. That's the beauty of stuff like that. And again, connecting at the feeling level, and people, it's you'd be surprised at the buy-in or the effort that people will give if they believe what you believe. And I'm going to shut up now.
It turns out they don't even care if you can say the alphabet. They'll just follow you, you know? So it's totally fine.
But I think what you said again, it goes back. We made a comment earlier about, I can't remember which one of the games it was, when we were all sort of, I think it was the word one, we were thinking about what am I going to say? It's my situation. And it's like what Milton's just saying, even in our leadership meetings, you know, some people don't like the words feelings and stuff, but it really is. If we're giving every person in that room that place of validity and you're here for a reason, so we're empowering them, we're making them feel empowered, that's where we get the buy-in as leaders. That's where we're able to move from vision to execution. It's in that kind of presence. And that's, I think, you know, the quote sums it up, and yeah, it's brilliant.
Well, that was an impressive insight that we all kind of like got to from improv. I think that was you guys are a great group, and you guys were like very present the whole time here. There wasn't a lot of people up in their heads and kind of doing their own thing. I thought this was a really fun group. So we could play improv games forever. So I think, you know, we'll probably do this again with Jen at some point. I welcome you guys all to come back and join, and think about how this can be used for your team and how you can kind of take these lessons away. So improv is about kind of like breaking down and being yourself and thinking on your feet and adding information that's relevant and is unique to you. And so, like we said, a lot of times, you know, we don't give ourselves enough credit for being the subject matter experts that we are. We like over prepare to the point that someone who doesn't know anything about what we do could just be handed these notes and go in there and wing it and be fine. But I think improv kind of reminds us that we have that power within us, and that we can it's okay for us to be listening and reacting and kind of giving our own perspective. So thank you guys so much for participating and offering such beautiful insights and participation. So
thank you, Jerry. I hope you all enjoyed building your authentic connection tonight. This was a pilot, and I think that it went really well. We will definitely see Jerry in 2025. There will be a sequel or a part 2 to this workshop. So please consider registering in the new year. If you think that any of this could benefit your teams, feel free to reach out to Jerry directly. Jerry will drop his email in the chat here. And also, don't forget to register for our last networking event of the season. If you have not participated in any one of our networking events, we do have a really good, solid group of leaders who are registered for this upcoming Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from 12 to 1 p.m. So consider joining us. If you go to www.vpcircle.com and then click on What's On, you will see an event this upcoming Friday, December 6th, titled Speak Your Value Networking Event. So consider joining us for that hour and meet influential executives that could potentially help to unlock opportunities for you in 2025. So it should be a really fun time. And again, thank you all for attending tonight.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure meeting everybody.
Good
Take
night.
good
Good night. Thank you all for joining.
Randall, I hope you get some more rest.
Absolutely. Thanks,
care.
Jerry.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Jen, if you're still there.
Yeah.
So the connection I sent you, Natalie, on LinkedIn, or I reach out to her, Natalie Turner. I sent you a message on LinkedIn. So she's written a book and a concept called The Six Eyes of Innovation.